But before we start, I really want to tell a story, a personal story of mine, as it relates to my wearable moment of wow. And it happened this summer. I happened to be at Disney with the family in August. It was hot. There's 14 of us. We made a family trip down there. My brother-in-laws were there. We're pretty competitive, right? So we're waiting in line to go on the Buzz Lightyear ride. I don't know if anybody here has been to Disney and the Buzz Lightyear ride, but basically you sit down on these chairs and you go around this Buzz Lightyear environment, and there's little targets everywhere, and you shoot those targets and you get points for shooting those targets. So I'm standing in line, it's hot. It's day 3, we're a little agitated, everybody's really competitive and whatnot. And I get a little vibration on my wrist. So I look, I swipe, I have an Android Nexus phone right here. Swipe Google Now, tips and tricks for winning at the Buzz Lightyear ride. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. So I opened up the article, and it told me in every single room what I needed to do, where I needed to shoot in order to win. My watch told me this, because it gave me the indication, opened it up on my device, and it gave me all this information. And did you know if you shoot right here, that's 100,000 points, right? So next time you go to Disney and you're on the ride, shoot for the inner palm of the robot. Everything else is 2,000 points. So I didn't tell anybody. My son and I didn't tell anybody. We went on, and this was our final score. Everybody else had like 50,000 points. So to me, this was like, wow, I can't believe this just happened, because number one, I could tell this story when I present, which is great. And number two, it really opened my eyes in terms of where we are going in terms of a society and what's happening in the world of wearables, which leads me to, us to say, right now the ultimate wearable is your smartphone, right? You have it on you all the time, you're constantly carrying it, which really turns us into real world versions of web traffic. And I know David was showing that chart before, and the animations of the little dots, the red and the blue. So, that to me looked like web traffic. And if you think about this and you take the Disney example and you associate a brand with it, and you take a brand experience where maybe I'm in the parking lot of Target and I get out of my car and my watch makes a little buzz, or look down at my Google Now, and it tells me exactly, because I was in Disney a few weeks ago, a Disney game to buy. Or it talks about, hey, because it's Friday, maybe the kids want ice cream tonight, here's some tips and tricks and content we could produce and send to you as it relates to how to make robot-style ice cream cookie sandwiches. Sprinkles, cookies, this and that, and put it all together, and a brand could own that. So it creates, how can we start creating content and providing value to consumers in this way? So based on all this historical information, where we've been, where we're gonna go, provide information that's relevant to you. But first, how do we get here? And I think, we've moved from this world of this controlled environment of being stationary, as we all know here, to this world of we're all unleashed. And if you look at the PC market, we're in this post-PC era. PC sales have been declining for the past 10 years. Smartphone sales, 85% of consumers today who are buying a phone are buying a smartphone now. We're about 75% smartphone penetration in the US. And if you look at time spent, just in general, the smartphone, the mobile device, you've outpaced television, you've outpaced traditional digital desktop. And when we buy media on behalf of our clients, and when we place the media on sites, Twitter, Facebook, whatnot, we're seeing a lot more of our impressions, 80 to 90% of our impressions, going to the mobile device. So we're moving to this world of going from an unleashed society. And when we move into this world of wearables, which is great, and thank you Jawbone, thank you Fitbit, thank you Android Wear, Moto 360, LG, for putting out these devices, for priming the public that we have this new device that's launching next year, the Apple Watch, which is going to revolutionize in terms of how consumers interact with wearables. A lot of the different studies show that about 18 to 20% of consumers who already own an iPhone will convert to that device. And with the biometric sensors and the ability to track people in unique ways, and all the new apps that are going to come out that are going to be focused on providing added value and added experiences, it's going to be tremendous. So how do we address this? From a Mindshare perspective and a Life Plus perspective, we look at the world of mobile into three zones. We have the zones of mobility. The comfort zone, which is I'm sitting at my house, I'm on my tablet. 85% of people are on their smartphone, sitting on the couch watching TV, right? So I have this comfort zone. What kind of message could I push to the consumer there? I'm in this hot zone. The hot zone is that I'm walking into Target. I'm walking into the front door of Target. I'm walking into an aisle. What type of message and experience could I deliver there? What connects everything is that constant zone, and it's the wearable, it's the smartphone that brings this all together. So based on historical patterns and based on where I've been, being able to deliver the right message at the right time to the right person. So how do we define wearables? We define wearables as any technology worn by a human externally that is beyond the three screens and that integrates with the human's own biometric characteristics. These include activity trackers, smartwatches, augmented reality devices, fitness bands, Google Glass, Google Cardboard, health-related devices, everything as it relates to how can I be able to track and interact with consumers and capture that data. So in order to address this and in order to address this growing area, we developed Life Plus. And Life Plus is, for us, all about how do we start to interact and engage with consumers that are utilizing these wearable devices and are able to start to gather this data to serve the right message to consumers. So we really believe that we are entering this third wave of digital advertising. The first wave was desktop digital. Second wave was mobility. Third wave we're moving into is the opportunity to target and create stories and create interactions with wearable devices. So we created our tech unit. It's based in New York and based in London. It's a global unit, and we work closely with all our brands and all of our teams to elevate and do new programs with clients that help get them involved with us and then help build brand workouts. So we did two partnerships, one with a company called Lightwave, which I'll talk about shortly, and one with Under Armour MapMyFitness, which Doug Z will talk about. So Lightwave is a really interesting company. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this company, but basically what they do is they are all about biometric sensors at events. So when you think about Life Plus, everybody thinks health and fitness first, but we're not all about health and fitness. We're about like understanding how consumers are interacting on site, on events. And from a brand perspective, how do we take this interaction and then help amplify it for consumers and brands? So Lightwave is basically a company that tracks and measures actual involvement that's happening. So from a DJ being in this crowd, the DJ is going to know how interactive and engaged the consumers are by the wristbands you get when you go to these concerts, right? So at the EDM concerts, you get these wristbands. We could track you now and see what's happening. You could also move it to the world of an app, so we could see how much movement, how much dancing you're doing. And when the Apple Watch comes out, and with all the new sensors that Google has and Android Wear has, we're able to track different things. So being able to put that app and understand what the DJ is seeing from an activity perspective, what the audience is doing, as well as what's happening from a marketing perspective. So we could start to see if people are engaging. If they're hot, we could start delivering beverages to consumers in the audience. We could start seeing from a light perspective what's happening. Does the light being flashed energize the audience? So I'm going to show you a quick video of Lightwave, and I'll give you a quick little case study in terms of some data that's happening. Lightwave was started by a person named Rana June. She was the person who, when the iPad first came out, she was able to hack it, and she became the iPad DJ. So she spoke at TED. She's done concerts at the White House in terms of getting people excited about what technology brings and how innovation and how being able to hack things could elevate and drive experiences for consumers. One of the things that was really interesting was at one of the events we were able to see, based on interaction and based on actual energy levels that we were tracking with consumers, in the first 45 minutes of the show, you'll see the 18 to 24-year-olds, a lot of energy right when the show started, but then the energy dropped off at the 45-minute mark. Later on in the show, you see the 25 to 34-year-olds pick up. So based on the music that was playing at the time, it was an EDM concert. Sometimes they go back and put some throwback songs on to a new mix. You know, that audience then picked up on some familiar songs and the energy level picked up, right? So it's really interesting to be able to start tracking this data and understanding this data in order to form different patterns and different things for future events and future concerts to optimize the overall experience. So that was Lightwave. We're really excited to also partner with MapMyFitness and Under Armour. We felt that when we were going into the space from a media perspective, our clients like scale. Scale is very important. We need to get that message out to as many people as possible. So we recognize Under Armour MapMyFitness as the leader in that space. They're connected to over 40 different wearable technologies. So when you are having the wearable technology and you work with the MapMyFitness app and you put your content, your workout into that, we're able to capture that and start developing programs for consumers who have opted in and be able to target messages to them that are unique. So we have a MapMyFitness data scientist that we work with at Mindshare. We have something called the Loop, and in the Loop, the MapMyFitness data scientist helps us understand what's happening on the ground level to help better inform our clients for campaigns. To date, we've done a ton of workouts with the MapMyFitness team, and we bring in the clients, we bring in the teams, and we have brainstorm sessions. One of our campaigns just launched a couple weeks ago for Tragenta, because one of the big insights is that when doctors are diagnosing people with diabetes, they will put together a little regimen plan saying use MapMyWalk, right? So with MapMyWalk, how do we get in front of people that have been diagnosed with this chronic disease? We'll be able to put a message, and we put a message in front of these people because we know a lot of our consumers are going there. So without further ado, I want to introduce Doug. Doug's going to take us through what's going on at MapMyFitness and provide a lot of great case studies and information as it relates to what's happening in the market.
Great, thank you, Jeff. And as Jeff said, we are Under Armour MapMyFitness. We now operate under the brand of Under Armour Connected Fitness. For those of you who don't know, about a year ago, almost today, we were acquired by Under Armour. MapMyFitness, as a standalone brand, is a web and mobile property. Their technology allows users to record, track, share their workouts with their friends and family. And under the MapMyFitness brand of families, we have MapMyRun, MapMyRide, Hike, Walk, and Try. So just some clarification points there. But now that we're partnered with Under Armour, we're really excited about the road ahead, and we share a common mission and vision. And the mission is to make all athletes better. And our vision is to be the largest connected fitness platform of its kind globally. And one way that we're doing that, and a strong strategic philosophy that we both share, is this idea of having an open platform. So as Jeff mentioned, we have 40 plus different connected device brands on the platform, but we have the capability to connect over 400 plus different connected devices, given our device agnostic approach and essentially opening up our platform to the different standards that allow these devices to connect. Wrong computer. All right, we got all kinds of computers going on here. So we have a very shy, not very outspoken CEO at the helm, Kevin Plank, founder of Under Armour. And I thought this was a really interesting quote, and this was in Business Week this week, so it's perfect timing. Starts out with, "I'll be damned if I'm going to cede anything to Silicon Valley or any other technology company because I believe we're a technology company. And if the phone is going to get integrated into the shirt, should that be a technology company making apparel or the apparel company starting to make technology? I choose the latter, and that's exactly where I'm pushing my company." So a lot of people have been curious and asked about the Under Armour MapMyFitness partnership, and I think this quote really sums it up. And this is absolutely where we're moving into the future. So we have a strong vision of what we believe connected fitness will look like and how it's going to be a part of the traditional world, which is apparel and footwear, which is this product world. And it's been an interesting partnership so far because we've truly taken the company that's redefined the t-shirt and now is coining themselves as a footwear brand with a truly digital company. We've kind of mashed ourselves together like the Brady Bunch, and it's been fun teaching each other our respective languages. But we have a video that demonstrates what that means to us, and what the road ahead looks like. And is this going to start automatically? We love videos at Under Armour.
Our job is to make you better, to make all athletes better. One great innovation at a time. The next great athletic innovation isn't available just yet, but it's being built at Under Armour right now. I will.
So when we talk about health and fitness technology, all of these data points are probably not unfamiliar to everybody here in the room. You have to have been living under a rock to not have understood that connected fitness is really, I think, at the forefront of the idea that consumers can go out into the real world, collect data about themselves, and save that to some sort of personal profile and share that with their friends. And health and fitness are absolutely leading the way in this trend. And both from the fitness perspective and from what I would call the health perspective, which is about disease management and clinical states, these two areas are leading the way. And we're seeing similar adoption rates, we're seeing similar retention rates. And more importantly, 50% of these consumers are at the ages of 18 to 34. But what's important about this trend and what we see as the value in the partnership between Life Plus and Under Armour is all of these devices are at the forefront of this data collection, but as a company, and really where we're focusing our efforts is at the center, which is the software. So we're acting as the hub for all this data input and using those data insights to drive meaningful relationships between brands and our consumers, which is exactly the philosophy in the vision that we see through the Life Plus partnership. I love this slide because it demonstrates. It looks like a caption of the future, but it's really not. The idea that now that we can take a tattoo or a sticker or some sort of tab and put it on our bodies and collect data from that is here and it's real. So the take-home message here is that these technologies are not only going to be ubiquitous, they're going to be disposable, they're going to be inexpensive. And today, when we think about $300 connected devices and hardware, that's going to be an antiquity in probably 6 months or even a year. And at Under Armour, the philosophy is that in the future, collecting data should be as easy as slipping on a t-shirt. No forward-looking thoughts there, but it's absolutely, as you can see down there with Feature Girl, a potential reality down the road. Fitness devices or wearables, as we see them, have grown on our platform by about 340%. And right now, about 40% of our workouts, total workouts coming into the system, are coming from some sort of wearable. And on any given day, we're taking in about 1 million workouts into our platform. And again, through Life Plus and with the brand partners that Life Plus has, we're using this data to drive insights about consumer habits and behaviors on a really, really specific level. We're able to match the behaviors of these users and segment these audiences against product segments for these specific brand partners. Workouts are the proxy for everything that we do. We talk a lot about registered users, we talk a lot about unique visitors, but at the core, workouts are what's driving all of these data insights. We have the ability to collect things like BMI and frequency and location, more importantly, age, the speed that people are running, the activities that they're doing, how many calories they're burning. And this is first-party data that's voluntarily being submitted into the database from our users. And they're doing this in the spirit of an equitable value exchange. So I have a couple examples that I'm going to show about what the relationship looks like and why people are willing to give this information, because in return they're getting something of value, and we're very sensitive to this relationship at MapMyFitness. But in 2014, we had about 160 million workouts. In 2015, we project that to be double, if not triple. And again, that's the proxy for everything we do.
You've got the goals, and we've got the gear. Zappos.com has partnered exclusively with MapMyFitness to bring you the revolutionary gear tracker.
I found a new place to go, made up my mind, and so I'm leaving today. Can we do it together? You don't need no fancy things. Oscar or diamond rings don't mean a thing. I could travel the world and see, but nothing could ever be like being with you, together forever.
We'll help you keep track of every mile you put on your shoes, alerting you when it's time for your next replacement. With thousands of styles from the industry's top brands, 24/7 customer service, and fast, free shipping and returns, we can help you run, bike, walk, or hike your way to your fitness goals.
Can we do it together? Together forever. Let's do it together. Together forever. Let's do it together. Together forever.
So we showed that example. This was a partnership we did directly with Zappos, but it's just the beginning of the types of things we're going to be able to do with brands in terms of giving them access to data, but also bringing a really rich experience to our users. It's an eyes wide open example of a consumer handing over some data. They get to track their shoes in real time, and all of those the activities they're tracking are coming from their wearables and their mobile devices, and it tells them when it's time to change their shoes. Historically, people don't change their running shoes until they're stinky and falling apart and the dog's eating them, or you've got some sort of injury or knee pain, right? So we've actually put some research together, and best practices I think are around 300 miles. So the consumer gets an automatic email from Zappos, hey, it's time to change your shoes. Here's some examples. We use the recommendation engine, and boom, it's easy, and they can actually have them drop shipped to their house. But again, this is just the beginning, and we're actually about to embark on a big partnership through the Life Plus program with American Family Insurance. And you're going to see some really cool programs coming in 2015. So really excited about that. So again, it's all about this connection between first-party consumer data, real live first-party coming from these wearables, and connecting those with the brand and consumer experience. Something that we've pioneered and are driving hard is the idea that activity can be equity, or activity workouts are equitable exchanges. So we've done a lot of work with Humana and Coca-Cola. One of the Coca-Cola activations that we did was they were promoting a Live Positively campaign. The idea was consumers could vote for their favorite local parks or state parks, and Coke would give a grant for the one that received the most votes. So there are 3 ways to vote. The first was through a Facebook like, the second was a Foursquare check-in, and the final was a verified activity. So through a single sign-on, connect your MapMyFitness account to Coca-Cola, log workouts, and you can actually vote, accrue votes towards your favorite park. And from a consumer perspective, this is really valuable because people are out there engaging and they're active, and they like the idea about being able to receive rewards for the things they're already doing. And it's an excellent way for us to engage our Life Plus partners through rewards and loyalty programs. And companies like CVS are perfect candidates for that, where users are already using their promotional cards. So it's a great way to combine those activities and those points and be able to submit those for rewards. No sound here, so you're going to just get my voice as commentary. But we wanted to show a rendering of first-party data. This is what users did in New York City last year. It was a 12-month overlay of all the different activities. So you can see pulsing on and off, so night and day. And you can see right there in the center, Central Park is the most heavily populated area for activity. I think the number is that each day there's about 6,000 different workouts happening in Central Park alone. And if you look closely, you should be able to see the start of the New York City Marathon here pretty shortly, which is really cool. Yeah, there they go. So it's just one small example of the type of insights that we can provide, and it very similar to what David had, where we know exactly where consumers are working out. But more importantly, when we think about our brand partnerships, it gives us intelligence about where and how and what are the best ways to be visible to these consumers, even outside when we're doing activations in the form of things like billboards, or even in Palm messaging, because we know that which activities they're doing, we know where they're doing, so we know the right place, the right time to serve them a message that's not just relevant, but it's authentic. And there's no way you're going to get me to say the word native, but we truly believe that that's the that's the power of these types of relationships and these types of data. So getting to wrap up here, I'm a Boston guy, and I jumped at the chance to come up and speak. I lived literally right over the river, and so I said, if we're going to go up and present about data, let's give something interesting. So this is a Life Plus Fittest City first reveal, New York against Boston, and Boston's better. Come on, I just gotta. But I mean, there weren't any mind-blowing things, but some things were very interesting, as both of these cities are very metro cities. So on a user basis, Boston had more workouts per user, 10.2 workouts. So that was kind of interesting. Medium running speed, pretty close, neck and neck, 6.2 miles per hour, 6.24 for Boston, 6.2 for New York. Bike distance, pretty comparable, 7.4 to 7.15 for New York. Medium walking distance, Boston, 40 minutes, 52 seconds, New York, 39. That's really good. I mean, we polled almost 2 million users. So that's, almost 200,000 users, and we had over like 2 million workouts. So that's great. And this is data going back from January. And mind you, this is all verified data. So it all came from some sort of wearable. So our definition of a verified workout is something that has to have some sort of time-based component or GPS component, which is coming from the wearables. But here's the interesting one. Preferred workout time. Boston's 25% more likely to work out at lunchtime than New Yorkers. So hypothesis here is New Yorkers more apt to go to the gym and Boston goes outside. And if we had the graphs here, we'd show you that the time of day, lunchtime, had the biggest spike, and it was all walkers, which makes me feel good to know even in both of these cities, people still respect the walk, the lunchtime walk. I mean, and maybe this is something David could look into when we're talking about, communicating to, building collaborations and getting people more social, outside of that's the new water cooler maybe. And then peak workout times. I thought this one was interesting too. Bostonians begin their evening workouts earlier. Peak workout hour in Boston cities is at 6 p.m., but 10% of Boston's weekday workouts started between 5 and 6. And at the 5 o'clock peak, what we saw was the primary activity was cycling. So really speaks to the commuter piece, people going home. But I think that because Bostonians starting earlier, their commute could be a little bit longer. And essentially there were more workouts with this cycling component. So the idea is, hey, they're riding home, takes a little bit more time to get home. And then New Yorkers, because they're going late, the idea is maybe they're going into the gym. So interesting perspective. But wanted to share this, especially since we're in the backyard here in Boston. So thought it was a nice little data point. And with that, Jeff's gonna wrap up. So thank you guys.
Right. So I'm neutral to the turnout because I grew up in Cleveland and I live in New Jersey. So it's nice to see that people are actually out working out and being active all the time and tracking their activities. So, looking ahead, obviously, as you see in all the charts we talked about and where the future is going, wearables are real. It's not going away. It's just the ability to, as we saw, the tattoo, the sensors, the shirts, all these sensor-based technologies being able to integrate with the ultimate wearable today, which is our smartphone. 2015 will drive adoption. Been primed right now in 2014, 2013 with all the wearables, which is awesome. And we're excited to see that what's coming to the market is going to help really leap forward and make things happen from a brand perspective. And also, thank you for allowing us to come here today to talk to you because, we believe like connect to create in terms of, we all need to collectively work together to make this a success because there's going to be a lot of experimentation. So it helps that, as a whole, we think together, we come with ideas together, and then we elevate and make this a real world where we're able to target messages and provide value and additive experiences back to our consumers. So thank you very much, and we're open for questions.
The last couple slides of the collected data of the urban landscape here in Boston, the mayor just announced everything he does for the next few years data. It seems a huge opportunity for you guys to share this data with the urban management team. This could be really useful in planning for bike paths and the walking things and the way that cities get transformed and laid out. And I think it becomes ammunition for that kind of change. Do you have that kind of program underway now?
It's a great question. We have had a number of different requests from various municipalities about that exact same thing, and the short answer is yes. We don't have we're sort of in the early stages of programs like that, but that's a big area for us. The other big area is just basic research. We've been collecting data like this since 2005, and we really are just starting to uncover it. There's so much gold in there, so that we have the biggest database of physical activity in the world. And the way we think about it is, I think V1 for this type of technology has been about data collection, and that right now it's not really good enough because data collection for collection purposes is it's not that meaningful. So I think V2 and forward looking over the next 5 years, I think the companies that are going to be most relevant and in our space are going to be the ones winning, are the ones that are going to be able to take that data and make it actionable for the consumer. So pushing forward into a more prescriptive state and using things like artificial intelligence to give them more output about what they're doing so they can make more informed, intelligent decisions. And that's, again, the municipalities and urban planning are another great example of that. So we're excited about those possibilities. Health insurance companies, absolutely. So we do a lot of work with health insurance companies. Humana Fit was one of the biggest partnerships that we had in terms of this using our platforms 2 years ago. They actually built a white label version, and they have private virtual fitness challenges, and they're getting first access to all this data. They know exactly what their consumers are doing, their constituents, and they can immediately draw that relationship between healthcare costs and behavior modifications. So there's a lot of application for sure.
So that hasn't launched yet, so we really can't discuss the details of it. But we have a number of programs coming up in the pipeline based on our brand workouts that we'll start to see in the marketplace from an experiential perspective.
That'll be January 2015. So look to the website.
Okay, sort of connected to that, tell me what you think about privacy, and does that come up at all? I imagine that there are multiple insurance companies that haven't run.
Well, we've done a couple of initiatives with insurance companies in particular, and speaking for the Map My Fitness property, it's completely opt-in. The information they're providing is voluntary, and there's different levels of access. And as I mentioned before, so far the philosophy of having an equitable exchange with our consumers, we believe that from the consumer's standpoint, as long as we're providing something of value and they're walking away with some sort of experience or there's a positive outcome or some sort of sense of accomplishment, that seems to be, in their minds, that seems to be reason enough to be able to provide this information. So we're giving them great insights. And we're very, very sensitive to that. I mean, right now, we're at a point where you're probably reading a lot about data sharing and following people along the web and using things like data management platforms. And we haven't jumped out there yet, particularly because of that sensitivity. So we've always been careful to make sure that, what they're providing us, they're getting back in exchange. And they're going into it eyes wide open, and it's fostered a really high level of trust with Mount My Fitness brand. Any questions?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.